So, you're probably wondering why I'm showing you my Eeyore mug. This mug lives on my desk and it has for almost 20 years now. This mug is very special. I don't drink coffee out of it, I don't drink anything out of it. The reason it's so special to me is because it was, it's a reminder of somebody that I met. And in fact, it's when I met Eeyore. Yes, I met Eeyore. Like, well, at least one of the Eeyores. Back in 2007, I went to BotCon, a Transformers convention, with my then husband, huge Transformers fan. And I had recently, before that convention, found out that the voice of Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen, was also the voice of Eeyore. So I ran to the local Disney store, found something that Peter could sign that had Eeyore on it, and I got myself a cute little Eeyore t-shirt. Showed up to BotCon on the day that Peter Cullen was doing his meet and greet with my Eeyore t-shirt and my Eeyore mug, and waited in line with a bunch of 20, 30, 40-year-old men, some of them 50-year-old men, mostly guys. There were some women, but I was very much in the minority there. Most of them wearing their red and blue, their Optimus Prime, their Transformers stuff, some of them purple with their Decepticons and blah, blah, blah. I'm wearing my purple Eeyore t-shirt, holding my Eeyore mug, and I walked up when it was my turn to the table and said to Peter, hey, I thought you might want something a little bit different. And he goes, thanks for thinking of me, and signed my mug. And so I also wanted to use this opportunity to share with you a few things that I learned from Peter Cullen over the years. One of them is that when he was trying out for Optimus Prime, he was a little worried about doing the voice of this like hero. And his brother, who was a Vietnam veteran, said to him, don't be a Hollywood hero, be a real hero. Be strong enough to be gentle. And that is so true about leadership, about coaching, because the best leaders don't dominate, they don't yell, they don't have to prove themselves. They just show up and do the thing every single day. The second thing that I have learned from Peter Cullen over the years is your voice is your legacy. Peter didn't become famous because of his face. In fact, most of you probably wouldn't recognize him if you saw his picture. But as soon as he opened his mouth, I promise you, you would have recognized immediately, I know that voice from somewhere, because he was literally the voice of our childhoods. And so this is a reminder for podcasters, because honestly, most of the time we're obsessing over the right microphone and downloads and content and da-da. But really, what our listeners are listening to is our voice, our message, because it's not just the sound. It really is about what you're putting out in the world. And Peter did amazing things over the years. He's also a reminder that one voice can change millions of people, can influence millions or hundreds of thousands or thousands or a few hundred. Really, how often do you say to yourself, if I could just positively influence one person, your podcast could be doing that. Let's see. Oh gosh. I also want to share that when I met Peter and he signed this mug, there was someone sitting next to him, and he was one of Peter's staff. And what was interesting was I met that guy in 2020. So like 13 years after I met Peter Cullen, I met this guy. We happened to both mention somehow, or he mentioned that he used to work for Peter Cullen. I was like, oh my God, I know who that is. I met him. And I told him the story of my t-shirt and the mug, or of the mug. And he goes, oh, you're the girl. You're the gal. Before me, this staffer did not know that Peter Cullen was the voice of Eeyore. So, that humility that Peter Cullen had was something that was something we can all learn a little bit about, because he wasn't running around bragging saying I'm the voice of Eeyore, or one of the voices of Eeyore, because there's a few other voices who have been Eeyore over the years. You know, it was just something that this guy learned because someone else, you know, knew the fact and shared it. So it's pretty cool. Um, Peter's most famous character was a transformer. We in life, as coaches, as podcasters, as hosts, are helping people to transform their lives all the time. Transform their mindset, transform their business, transform their family, their relationships, all kinds of things. So he's just a good reminder that what we see on the outside isn't always what we are on the inside, and that things can change a little bit for that. Keep in mind, while Peter was not only the voice of Eeyore and Optimus, he voiced like something like over 200 different characters over the years. Check his IMDb. You'd be shocked at how many voices. But the difference between Optimus and Eeyore is one inspired courage and one inspired quiet melancholy. Very different personalities, same person. We all have multiple facets to our lives and to who we are as human beings. And so try not to put people into just one category, and recognize that there's different facets to their lives. And he was able to show up as those different kinds of characters with that. And finally, just remember that your voice outlives you. Not only is your podcast or your video or what you're doing here going to influence people now and in a few months from now, these things are going to be available forever. This is part of your legacy. I'm so lucky that I have over 500 episodes of things that my kids, and eventually maybe someday my grandkids, will be able to hear my voice and hear me talk about things and be able to hear from me. And I will live on and be able to share those things in the future because of those podcasts. So I just wanted to share those things and just remind you to be like Peter, be like Eeyore, you know, just be a transformer, be Optimus Prime, have a little courage, share your voice with the world, because you have a message and it's something that people need to hear from you. So rest in peace, Peter. You've earned it.